me just floor it?
No.
Come on. Let's see what happens.
No.
Think we'll float or sink?
Sink.
I'm scared. What's going on, good people of YouTube? Blue Light Bandit here today, and I'm going to be talking about my first experience driving on the beach in a four-wheel drive vehicle, and I'll be passing on some tips and information, knowledge, whatever you want to call it, onto you guys in case you ever want to do this. This might kind of give you a head start on what to expect. This isn't really my first time driving on a beach. I actually drove a motorcycle down at Daytona Beach, Florida during Bike Week. But that was totally different because they had a packed down surface there for motorcycles to ride on, and so I'm not really going to count that. This is the first time that I have actually been on the beach in a four-wheel drive vehicle, and let me tell you that it was nothing short of amazing. It's one of the best times I've ever had. I've been mudding, rock crawling, all kinds of four-wheel drive, driving in the rivers. And this was the most enjoyable experience I've ever had. It was just really relaxing, calm, and the views were amazing. Speaking of that, in this first segment of the video, I'll be going over the tips for driving on the beach, and then after that, it will just be footage of what I saw. Driving up and down the coast, looking at all the beautiful scenery. So there won't be, the only talking you'll hear is between me and my wife occasionally saying something, and I might add in some subtitles. So if you just hear for the tips, it'll be at the first part of the video, and the second part will just be footage of me driving on the beach in case you don't want to watch that. That's cool. And I'll probably bust it up into different videos because I've got a lot of footage, and I'd hate to cram it all into just one video. So I just want to make you aware of that. Now, the first thing that I want to mention is go with somebody else if at all possible. If you can have a second vehicle there to help you if you get stuck, all the better. If you can't, if that's not possible, then at least at a minimum, tell somebody where you're going, when and where. Give them a time frame. That way, and tell them that you'll check back in. If they don't hear from you, then they need to contact the local authorities. I would do that at a minimum because you may end up getting stuck somewhere and your cell phone might not work. You know, anything could happen. So I would at least do that. And the next thing on my list is make sure that your vehicle is capable of taking you where you're wanting it to go. Obviously, you know, airing down your tires is huge, making sure you have the appropriate tires. Four-wheel drive is obviously preferred. All-wheel drive, yes, they go great also. If you don't have those, you may have a problem on some of the beaches. You know, just use common sense, guys. I ended up having to get an elderly lady and her daughter unstuck because they drove their Chevrolet Impala, front-wheel drive Impala, with 36 PSI in their tires out on the beach, and needless to say, they did not get far at all. And I ended up helping them. I aired their tires down to 16 PSI, got them backed out and out of the way, at least. Their beach driving days were not going to happen in that car. So just be prepared and make sure and use common sense if your vehicle is going to be capable of doing this. And the next thing on my list is to make sure that you have appropriate recovery gear, such as maybe traction boards or a recovery strap. Those are two great things to have when you go riding on the beach or anywhere really. And also a couple of shovels. Maybe you can get some of those little compact fold-up shovels. I had all of that with me. I had traction boards, recovery straps. I had everything. Dead man. I even had some snatch blocks. I had a couple of shovels, but I also had a lot of room. I had a crew cab truck with a truck bed I could throw a lot of stuff in, so you might not have that option. You might not have that much room. So choose wisely, but you do need to have some type of snatch strap or something, because it's, like I said, it's common courtesy for the person that is stuck to use their gear, because sand is really bad on straps. The little granules get in there, and it's like shards of glass, and they can cut that nylon. And it's also common courtesy, if you get stuck, use your own gear, and for you to hook it up, you need to get underneath the vehicle if you have to hook it up to the recovery point. It's not the person that's doing a good deed and getting you out. So just keep that in mind also. My next item on the list is make sure you have some type of emergency kit tailored to your specific needs. You know, my emergency kit is going to differ from yours. You know, think, well, what could happen and how long could I be stranded out there for, you know, realistically, and then add a couple days to it, and be sure that you have your kit is tailored to that. You know, obviously you want to have water, you want to have communications, first aid kits, recovery kits. So just making sure you have something in place and have a plan in place in case the worst did happen and you got stranded. There's a Jeep convention. JLI. My next tip for you guys is to have an alternate method of communication. Don't just rely on your cell phones, because you may or may not have a signal out there, or your cell phone could crash, or anything could happen, and then you would need help, and then you're going to be stranded. So a ham radio, CB radio, walkie-talkie, anything like that where you can reach out without having to rely on your cell phone is always a good idea. So just keep that in mind as well. One thing you need to know before you even drive out on the beach, you need to check with the local authorities to see if you need any type of permit or anything to do this, because the last thing you want to do is go out there and get in trouble. It'll just cause you to have a bad experience altogether. One beach we went on, we did not have to have a permit, and the other beach we did, and it was like $25. We had to go to town hall to get one. It was there in Nags Head. But the beach where the Wild Horses was on, this time of the year you did not need a permit, but you did have to have a permit if you wanted to park, and that was only during certain months. So they all have their rules and stuff, so just be sure to check and make sure that you don't need any type of special permit to do this. I just touched on about the rules and regulations on each respective beach. Be sure, a lot of places will give you a hard copy, or you can download it off the internet, that tells all their rules and stuff. And I can't stress that enough, guys, to be familiar with these rules and stuff, because you don't want to go into this blind. You won't know where to park at, you won't know where to drive at, and especially if it's a busy beach. Trust me, you just want to know what the rules are before you get out there. There's certain places that you're supposed to park, there's certain places you can drive, certain places you can't drive, and it's always good to know these rules. And plus they throw in some laws also. For instance, like there's a speed limit on the beach. I think it was different. One beach was 25 miles an hour and the other one beach was like 15 miles an hour. It's pretty much the rules of the road as far as which side to drive on, although it doesn't always work out that way. I think you'll see in some of my footage, I've met some cars and we would, we'd kind of make eye contact and have a mutual understanding where each person was going to go. So if I was on the left-hand side and the other person was on the opposite side, we wasn't going to break our necks just to switch over. We just went ahead and stayed our own course. It's kind of like being in a boat out on the water, I guess. But the rule of thumb is kind of, you stay up on the right hand side. As I mentioned before, it's imperative to air down your tires before driving out on the beach. You just get so much more traction when you do it. But you're going to need to air them back up somehow, and where you're at may not have a convenient place for you to air up your tires. So you need to have some type of portable air compressor, inflator, whatnot with you just in case there's not a place to. One beach I drove on did not have a place that was close by. The other one was about a mile away, which was really convenient. Had several bays actually where everybody could pull up, air up, and go on. But I had 3 air compressors with me. Don't ask me why, but I did. And I'm glad I did. It worked out perfect, and I didn't spend hardly any time airing back up. So just be sure that you got an air compressor to air yourself back up with. If you'll rewind the video just a little bit, you'll see a guy, and you'll actually hear me say something about the guy from Ohio. And it's, don't be a dick. This beach particular is not that wide. The other one was a lot wider, and you had a lot more real estate to drive on. This one, not so much, as you can see. And some people were crowding me really tight. I mean, there was I didn't have anywhere to go on my right hand side, and they were apparently paranoid about getting any closer to the surf, so they got up on me, and that is extremely unsafe. I almost got hit one time. I didn't get that on my camera, just the way I had my camera positioned. He almost hit my rear left quarter panel, because as you can tell, this beach, the sand, it's almost like driving in snow, kind of like driving in several inches of snow. Where another beach I was driving on, which you'll see later, it was more packed down, and it's a whole lot easier to drive on. Where this, you was fighting the steering wheel a whole lot. And like I said, one dude, that guy right there, it may have been, I can't remember, I think it was. I'll have to go back and listen. But, the ass end started fishtailing, and he was trying to correct it, and he was afraid he was going to get in the water, and he was, like I said, he came from inches from hitting me. So just don't be a dick, guys. There was people out there's people doing donuts. Don't do that. You're making deep ruts in that sand, and if it's just not cool. I saw a truck pass a Jeep, being a dick, and all it takes is a few bad apples to ruin it for everybody. And they could stop doing this. It's a luxury for us to be able to drive on the beaches, and all it takes is a few bad apples, and they say, okay, we're not going to do this anymore because Joe Blow went out there and done something stupid. So just keep that in mind, guys. We've already gone on 13 minutes now, so I don't know how much more footage I want to put on here. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and I'll try to upload the other parts later on. And as always, you guys have a great day. I'll see you.